In the last video we left off where we were just about to populate this information, which will soon become our navigation, into the actual page. So I'll copy these one by one into Dreamweaver and place them right in between the list items here. So there we go, and that's what it would look like in the website. Keep in mind that they are not links yet, just simply a list item. The other thing we have to take care of is that this ST on first should be Superscript. Google search for HTML5 Superscript takes us once again back to the W3 schools, and then we can see some examples inside of here with subscript and superscript. So what we want is SUP, opening and closing bracket, and all we have to do is surround the ST with that. Close that out. Looks kind of funny because it's so spread out, but once we go ahead and enter that in, we can see that looks like something's messed up here, but let's just test it, refresh it to make sure. Yeah, that was just a temporary thing. So there you go. And if we do a quick preview in the browser, we can see that we have basically everything on this page just like it should be, except for the navigation. But we need pages to navigate to, so let's go ahead and make this page right here. So from the main page we click on My Favorites website page, very simple page, and then we can talk about navigation both in going to external websites and then within our own website. So it might be good practice for you to write from scratch, create a new page. Either way, what we want to do first is go to File, New, and then just make sure we're creating a new document, that it's HTML, that the document type is HTML5, and then we go ahead and we click Create. And I'm just going to delete everything that's on this new page, and you can take the challenge of making the page from scratch, or you can just by clicking on this tab go back to your index page and just copy every single thing from line 1, which starts with the HTML, all the way to the closing HTML tag. We're not going to need a lot of this stuff on this page, but it's a good starting point if we want to use this copying method. Good to save this page at this point. Now make sure you're on the right page. So click to make sure that you're on this untitled page. And then we'll just go File, Save As. Nice, short, simple names are best. So since this is our favorites page, we can just call it FAV. It's fine. We're going to create a new folder called Pages, and all of our additional pages will go in here. So we are now at the point where we can save it, and if we look at our file structure now, the only thing that we have at the normal level or just inside of our local root folder is index, and then everything else, the image and the page we just created, which is right there, and the page that we will create after this will go inside of that folder. So it's time to start making changes in this page, and because we did a copy of the whole page, we want to really be sure we're working on the right page. So looking in the code from the top down, we know that we need to change the title of the page to something appropriate. The body so far, this part is all going to be the same as the last page, at least for now. And then we had a different H2 on that page, so let's go copy that. Okay, and then basically everything down here, we could try manipulating it, or we could just delete it, but you have to be real careful when you start deleting things. Make sure you don't go too far, because we need the closing body tag and the closing HTML tag. So let's be careful here. Delete all this, and then we can tell that everything looks like it's pretty well lined up. And now it's just a matter of building a new unordered list. There's the unordered list. There's what it looks like so far with nothing put in here. So not only is this going to be an unordered list, but it's also going to be a series of links. Now keep in mind you can change this text to like, here are my favorite websites. Everyone's going to put in 5 of their favorite websites in here. So this will be different from everyone's project to everyone else's project. For demo purposes, let's do a site everyone knows. So I just wrote in here a link to Amazon.com. That does not make it a link. In fact, I'll paste the same information in a couple of these just so you can see some of the different options that we have. Go to the HTML tutorial on the W3 schools. Under HTML links, you can see that here's the basic syntax for a link. Starts out with this A tag, closes with this A tag, and then the text that you want to become a link is located inside of here. So here's an example with the address put in and with the text, and if you click on try it yourself, you can get an idea of what it would look like. So this whole entire bit here is all a clickable link because it's all placed in between these 2 A tags. Up until now, our tags have simply been, like for example, this would have just been A followed by the closing A, but you can see there's some additional information that's placed in with these tags, and that's what's known as an attribute. And if you want to learn more about that, you go over here. It shows you some examples of different attributes that can be added to tags to spell out different information to the browser, and then a little more in line with what we're doing right now. So let's go ahead, give that a shot. First try, let's just make the word Amazon and only the word Amazon the link. So we start with our opening caret, type in an A, and then we hit a space, and then the program is smart enough to know that we are trying to add an attribute. We know that that one started with an H, and there it is right there. Put that in. We'll leave it blank for now. We'll go ahead, we'll close it. We'll come over here before we have a chance to forget, and we'll close our A tag. Now all we need is our address in between these 2 quotation marks. Now we probably all know what Amazon is by heart, but I always think the best practice is just to go out, copy it from the browser so that we don't have a chance to make a mistake. So we come back in here, paste that in, preview that in the browser. We'll notice a couple things. One, the link is now underlined, so that's the default look in HTML of a link. And we can see that only what we surrounded is linked, and I said we were going to do only the word Amazon, so I'll fix that in a second. And if we click on it, now pay attention to what happens up here when we click on it. It takes us to Amazon as we might expect. That's a little bit of a flaw when you have your website or your client's website and you want to link to another website. That's great, but you don't want the loser to the user after going all around the site looking around to forget how to get back to your site, which right now would take a few clicks back. So I'm going to show you a way to avoid that. What we're going to use to fix that is known as the target attribute, and if you just pause this here, you can look and see other options that you have. We just simply want this one right here, target equals underscore blank, and notice that's just an additional attribute that's added right after the href attribute. So copy that, go back to paste that in right after the quotation marks. And then I said we wanted just the word Amazon to be all that the link was. So let's remove the A tag from there and put it over there. That should fix that problem. And then we'll preview it in the browser. And now when we click it, watch the difference here. We click this and it opens up another tab. So the user can spend all day long in this website. As soon as they're tired of it, they close it, and there we are back at our website. Keep in mind, if you want the whole line to be the link, then you just surround the whole entire line. Finish that off with the closing tag. If you just wanted it short and sweet and informal like this, that's what you would do. And there's what the 3 examples look like in a browser. And just remember, as you're doing this, that I'm not going to do every single step for you, so that now all you'd have to do is make sure that you end up with 5 links to your favorite websites that open in a blank page. So in other words, just go back to this grade sheet every now and then, make sure that you're getting all of the objectives met. And then also, this is one of the things we just took care of. The main page, the index page is what it's also called, will be at the top level of your folder, and the other 2 pages and your image will be inside of appropriately named folders. So now let's see if we can't get your page to work like this, where we can go to your favorites, and once we're on your favorites, we can go back to your main page, and so on, back and forth. So what we're going to use to get that done is a local link. We do not need to put in the HTTP and the www because we're already on your site. It just makes sense to stay in there. So here's an example here with an ASP page. Ours will be very similar, but with an HTML page. So let's knock that out. Back into Dreamweaver. Let's go to the index page. Let's start there. And let's go up to the list item that takes us out to the favorites. Start with our A tag. And what the heck, let's just go ahead and close that A tag right away. And now to make that actually work, we need to put in our attribute. So if we put a space in there, good old Dreamweaver's ready. If I type in the H, should give me the shortcut to the href, double click on that, and then all I need to do is put in the name of the page that I'm going to, but I also have to pay attention to the folder structure. So let's just start with the name of the page. We recall that we named it fav.html. Now, if they were in the same folder, we'd be good. This link would work fine. So to tell the browser that there's a folder, what we do is just put the folder name right before the name of the file. So it was called pages, and then a /. So that / indicates that you go down into that folder. If we preview this in a browser, we can see that it's now underlined, indicating that it is a link. If we click on it, it takes us to our favorites page. The only problem is from here, we do not have a link to get back. So for now, we would have to use the back bar on the browser. But let's go ahead and see if on this page, we can't make the link that goes to the main page work. Now, it's going to be very similar, but in fact, I would suggest that you give it a try, see if you can figure it out, and then pause it, come back, and I'll show you the solution. So if you got this, great. If not, I mean, you really have to know about these 2 dots to get it. But I just wanted you to experience the frustration of trying to figure this out if you're not familiar with this yet. The thing is, once again, if both of these pages were just sitting there inside of the main folder, no problem. This would just be index.html. The other page would just be fav.html. The problem from the home page, the index page, to going to the pages is that we have to drop down into a folder. The problem going back from the favorites to the index is that we have to come up out of the folder. So that's what this dot dot and the / means. And that's actually not too bad the way it looks for it to be intuitive if you just think like dot dot up. So I've got to come up out of the folder that I'm in, and then I can find the index. Now if I was to have to go into another folder, let's say a totally different folder, let's pretend there was a 3rd folder in there, I'd go dot dot up, then I'd have the folder name, and then I would have the / leading me down to where that other file is. But this is exactly right the way this is now. At this point, you have all the knowledge that you need to finish up this website. So I'd challenge you to go ahead and try that. And then just check out the next video. It should be a short one. It just covers some things that are commonly forgotten on the project. And I'll talk a little bit more about that 3rd page and we'll talk about getting the navigation completely set up on these two pages.